Now to KCAL News reporter Luzdelia Caballero.
She's live in Castaic at Tapia Canyon Road and Castaic Road. Luzdelia.
Well, we can tell you conditions are much better. Air quality still not ideal, but I mean, the smoke isn't extremely thick where we are. A couple hours ago, even 2, 3, we couldn't say the same thing. Also, in terms of what we're seeing on the hillside, a much different story as we zoom in. We can see that orange glow, a very small one. You can see kind of smoke billowing, but really not much to write home about, at least from this vantage point. Of course, up in the air, it could look a lot different, but from what we're seeing, I mean, we are very optimistic, and it seems like firefighters are as well. Joining me here tonight is Mr. Jay Tracy, CAL FIRE spokesperson. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely, my honor.
So we understand containment has gone from 0 to 14%. What can you tell me about acres burned? Has that gone up as well?
Sure, we're at 10,176 acres. I would assume that's from the UAS drone that they have overhead that's kind of mapping the hot footprint of the fire through infrared technology.
And we were talking about how there are an extensive amount of resources. Can you kind of walk us through why that has really helped in this firefight?
Sure, well, anytime that you have a fire of this magnitude, especially with the weather and the fuels in the state that they were in, anytime that you can get additional resources as soon as possible, the better off you are, and the better odds you have of putting that fire out as just as quick as you can.
And why was it so important this time around to have those extra resources? Was it because of what we saw with the Palisades fire and Eaton fire when winds were involved, that we didn't want to take these chances this time around, or?
Well, I'm sure that's probably some of all of that. This fire obviously took off pretty quickly. We still are in a red flag warning. I believe that's going to stay around towards the end of till the end of the week. But that being said, too, they want to try to get these fires out just as quick as they can and get them contained before they do get into more populated areas.
And this fire broke out earlier today. We are not even at 11. Even midnight, and already we have 14% containment, a much different story than the last couple of fires that we've seen. Has the extra personnel, boots on the ground, aerial reinforcements, has that played a key role, would you say, or wind not being as aggressive tonight, or a combination of both?
Sure. Well, I'd say, generally speaking, every fire is a little bit different. Fire is driven by 3 predominant things. It's fuel, weather, and topography. So every fire is going to be a little different based off of the fuel, weather, and topography in those respective areas. But that being said, the number of resources that were readily available to the incident commanders here absolutely made an impact on this fire.
And for those who are still under evacuation orders and who are in the areas who, fire officials made sure that as many people who could get out were able to get out. Does this 14% containment mean they can go back? Can we make that abundantly clear if that's a no?
Well, you definitely want to make sure to watch your alerts. So the containment doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's going to be able to come back. It's respective to the size and the footprint of the fire as to where that containment line is and how proximal that is to the neighborhoods that were evacuated. So looking at Genesis, if you can see your zone, we're trying as hard as we can to get you back into your home. I promise you that. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of firefighters out here doing their darndest to wrap this thing up so we can get folks back into their homes just as soon as possible.
But it's important that they don't rush back in, especially when they're under evacuation orders, right?
Well, they won't be able to get back in under an evacuation order if they've left. Once that warning, the order goes to a warning, then they'd be allowed back into their homes. But under a warning, you're still kind of in one of those precarious situations where we might have to ask you to leave again should things turn and go the wrong way.
And so, moral of the story here is be ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So, protect.genesis.com is an awesome resource to get plugged into. So knowing where you are, knowing where the fire is, and having your stuff together, having your go bag ready, your medications, and maybe some valuable documents and those personal items that you want to take, have those packed up and ready to go. So when you're given the warning, if you have an opportunity to get out and go somewhere, maybe another family member's home, you can do so under the warning. And then when the warning changes to an order, then we do ask that you go immediately and get out of the area so the firefighters can come in and do their jobs.
And when we talked to you all earlier, we saw a few hot spots that, produce significant flames. Now they're out, but I'm starting to notice and feel, as you as well, this wind is coming back. Is that certainly one of the main concerns here in being one of the challenges to hinder this firefight?
Wind is always a factor. Wind's going to drive the fire. Wind can pick up, the small smoldering embers that are, small fires that are just kind of skunking around or maybe just smoldering, and the wind picks up. It can flare those fires up. It can also cast embers downwind from there and cause other spot fires. That is a big concern because of just the fuel bed receptivity right now. The humidity has been so low here for so many days, and with the winds, the fuel beds are just very receptive to any start of a fire at all. So the wind's a big factor, and hopefully it doesn't get to enough to where the air assets that we have over the fire are not able to fly.
And are you optimistic with the forward progress that has been made, with all the progress that has been made, that things are looking good, relatively speaking?
Sure. Well, firefighters are always optimistic, right? We're always doing great, and we're doing our best. Like I said, there's literally hundreds of firefighters out here on the line doing their best to get this fire wrapped up just as soon as they can. So with that being said, the number of resources we have, the support that we have, behind them, the command structure that's set up, running a unified command already with, BLM, the Forest Service, LA County sheriffs, and LA County Fire is a huge benefit to running an operation like this. And as many assets and resources that we have here, it's great to have that, kind of backing and that foundation going to get the guys out into the field.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all that you do.
No worries.
And just to sum things up, it seems like progress continues to be made. Yes, that wind is coming back, but they feel that with the additional resources they have a good handle and a good idea on where the fire is going, and hopefully that containment only continues to go up and the amount of acres burned doesn't go up too much. Guys?
All right, Luzdelia Caballero, thank you so much for that.